Okay, good morning, everyone. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am Santiago Rivera. I'm a researcher at Aix-Marseille University, and I'm also the international referent for NeuroMarseille Institute. It is obviously a great honor for me to welcome you on behalf of the organizing committee to the first tripartite Neurosymposium co-organized by three CIVIS universities, Aix-Marseille University, la Sapienza Università di Roma, and the Eberhard Karl of Tübingen. We are very pleased to inform you that we are more than 600 scientists and students registered for the meeting. Most of them obviously from Germany, Italy, and France, but not only, because we have the pleasure to welcome as well people from other CIVIS universities in Madrid, Brussels, and Stockholm mainly. So thank you all for being here, and we are very happy to have you all on board. I will go on with the acknowledgements because this is a very important part in a meeting. Before getting started, I would like to thank all those that have contributed to make this possible, in particular, our co-organizing fellows from Roma, Andrea Mele from Tübingen, Mark Himmelbach, as well as their respective Italian and German colleagues. I would like also to thank my colleagues from the international group of NeuroMarseille, who will be sharing, in particular, the sessions throughout the day. Those are Pascale, Livia Kerkedian, Thierry Cheminade, Anna Montagnini, and also I would like to thank Thomas Brochet for taking over the chair of the end of the day on the roundtable on non-human primates. Finally, very special thanks to our project manager, Gabriel Gallon, who has been working very hard to put this thing together. Very much supported by her collaborators, Theo Dupont and Isabelle Virard from NeuroMarseille and Neuroschool. And also thanking the direction of these entities, Neuroschool and NeuroMarseille, for being supportive in putting together this meeting. So why are we here today? What is the purpose of the event? As you may know, the CIVIS Alliance represents today 10 universities across Europe, which represents 500,000 students and 70,000 staff. CIVIS is one of the first European universities funded by the European Commission within the framework of the Erasmus+ program. And CIVIS likes to define itself as a collaborative space that brings together education, research, and innovation with an ultimate goal, which is opening higher education to society. And it is in this context that the Tripartite Neurosymposium aims to become a valuable tool for laying the foundations of European collaboration, for instance, by reinforcing existing networks, notably the level of the ongoing H2020 projects, the European projects, but also hopefully for the new projects come from the Horizon Europe program. But even more, we would like to see the symposium as a space for new collaborations between research and educational teams. It has to be mentioned that this initiative was facilitated because the strong historic links between the three universities, whether at scientific, educational, or institutional levels. We hope in this way that CIVIS Tripartite Neurosymposium will be a place for sharing, for creativity and discussion, open to all around strong scientific topics that are common, that are shared by the three universities. And we have been careful to put a program where we gather different experimental approaches that go from basic to translational and clinical research. That being said, everyone can realize that it's very difficult in just one day to represent the wealth and the diversity of the topics that are developed in our laboratories. Still, we think that nobody should feel left aside, because hopefully we will manage to repeat this kind of events in the future and therefore include those topics which are not present today. The symposium, that is very important, offers students access to excellent conference about the research we are conducting in our laboratories. And it offers, in turn, the laboratories an exceptional international showcase to show to their colleagues what they are doing, but not only, because that the intention, the the goal also is to attract students which are motivated by our work in our institutions. So this is a message for our young fellows. We will be hearing today about the basis of neuronal network organization, about the molecular basis of stem cells in physiological and pathological conditions. We will also have a session on how we integrate social and affective behaviors and what is the impact of some disturbances depending on sex and age. We finally will have a session on how we integrate visuomotor and sensory stimuli. And by the end of the day, there will be a very interesting roundtable on non-human primates. So we encourage you, all of you, to contact the speakers and which are present today, but not only because we have access, easy access to the websites of the different laboratories. So get in touch with them and let them know if you are planning or you want to do some training before, during, or after your postdoctoral career. Finally, I think it is important also to underline the civic dimension of this event, in line with the objectives of CIVIS to promote the European culture of transnational collaboration, which eventually puts universities at the service of societal issues. And everyone realized that this is very much in line with the growing importance of neuroscience as a tool to face the challenges of modern societies in the coming decades. That includes, obviously, the pleasure we all have to better understanding the nervous system, and also the consequent development of new therapeutic strategies to fight any kind of disease, developmental, psychiatric, or neurodegenerative disorders. But I think we can also take a look at neuroscience as a tool that is at the crossroads of many societal topics. That includes education, how we deal with making decisions, for instance, between conflicting informations that we receive every day. One of the most famous right now is our collective or individual behavior regarding the threats of climate change versus our increasing consumerism, but also how we deal with the benefits and threats of artificial intelligence, et cetera, et cetera. All those hot topics will be expecting the word from neuroscience and from neuroscientists, and hopefully we'll be able to meet these challenges based on the progress we can forecast in the next decades, going from basic to translational and clinical research. Hopefully that will make us able to make intelligent choices and eventually make our societies a better place to live. So I don't want to take much of your time. Thank you very much again for being here, and we really hope that you're going to enjoy the meeting. We are now to move on to the next speaker, my dear colleague, Pascale Durbec, who will be presenting the NeuroMarseille Institute. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Santiago, for this really great and complete introduction. So good morning, everybody. I'm Pascale Durbec, the head of the NeuroMarseille Institute in Neuroscience in Aix-Marseille University. So I'm really pleased to welcome you all to this first CIVIS meeting, which I hope will be the first one of a long series, as Santiago just said, and will allow us to know each other better, to increase future research collaboration, and allow the emergence of new and shared training programs for our students. I want to take this opportunity to say a few words on NeuroMarseille, our thematic institute. So a few years ago, in fact, Aix-Marseille University decided to enhance the link between training and research and to create thematic institute. This institute has the ambition to promote a theme of excellence at Aix-Marseille University to increase its visibility. Their singularity is to combine teaching and high-level research around graduate school, delivering high-level training. The main challenges for the university is to generate new knowledge, but also to bring out talent and, of course, to attract the best researcher and student in the university. So in this context, the CIVIS network is a unique opportunity to increase exchanges. So NeuroMarseille is one of these 18 institutes. In Marseille, we are in fact the second largest French community of neuroscientists and represent more than 1,000 persons, including researcher, postdoc fellow, engineer, professor, and of course, students. In this context, it's really important to federate the training and research program in neuroscience within this community. NeuroMarseille is based on several components, the 9 research units representing more than 70 teams and more than 30 technological platforms. The training component from third-year bachelor to PhD is represented by the graduate school NeuroSchool. And we have also a close interaction with the clinical research. And Marseille Hospital is one of the 3rd largest hospitals in Europe. We have also close interaction with biotech company, and also we really try to integrate our action in the city to promote better public knowledge and understanding of neuroscience. So the research component is represented by 9 research units, which are located on 3 different sites in Marseille, all in Marseille. The Central Campus, which work on aspects of mainly cognitive neuroscience, but also studying behavior and sensory neuroscience, and there is 2 research units there. The Timon campus dedicated mainly to the clinical neuroscience, but also studying cellular and molecular aspects of neuroscience. There are 4 different research units on this campus, and the Lumini campus, which focuses on molecular and cellular neuroscience, integrative and developmental neuroscience, and there is 3 different units. All these laboratories are working on 4 main scientific questions. First, we try to understand how the brain develops to achieve the highest cognitive function. And it's about 30 teams that study the fundamental mechanism of neurodevelopment, from stem cell biology to neurophysiology of developing systems. The second axis, and it's about 30 teams again, trying to understand what are the multi-scale dynamic of neuronal network in healthy and diseased brain. So it's about 30 multidisciplinary team working in collaboration in order to provide the original computational model with the experimental data and theoretical principles. 50 teams in Marseille are working to understand the activity of a neuronal network, and they try to understand how these networks are organized as small cluster or large network and how they generate behaviors. We have also about 50 teams which are studying the mechanisms involved in aging, neurodegenerative disease, and the damage which are done to the nervous system. One of the main characteristics of neuroscience at Aix-Marseille University is to integrate different levels of analysis to study brain function, using a wide range of methods ranging from molecular and cellular aspects to cognitive psychology and behavior. To answer this question, we use a wide range of models from C. elegans to human, and we also benefit from strong interaction with other communities to develop interdisciplinary approaches. This research is also possible thanks to state-of-the-art technical platforms which are distributed in the different laboratories, some dedicated to imaging and some to behavioral analysis and functional exploration, And in particular, we have a primate center. The training component of NeuroMarseille is structured around the NeuroSchool, a graduate school in neuroscience which brings together 3 degrees: the third-year bachelor, the master in neuroscience, and a PhD program. These altogether represent over 300 students each year. So the neuroscience specialty is introduced really early at the level of the bachelor. And the objective of this track is to give the student a solid knowledge in neuroscience and an early introduction to research. Some of our students have also the possibility at the end of the bachelor to perform internship in foreign laboratories. The aim of the master is to study, is to train students through research, really, and to fully integrate them in neuroscience laboratory. At the level of the master, NeuroSchool offers to students incoming and outgoing mobility grants to perform master rotation in Marseille for foreigners and abroad for our students. At the PhD level, students already work in research laboratories through the NeuroSchool program, PhD program. They also have access to specialized courses. They benefit from a large number of scientific events, as well as professional, social, and networking events. And one of the characteristics of this PhD program is that most of these events are programmed and organized by the students themselves. We also prepare our students to the study work transition into academic and non-academic work by helping them to build a professional network to really design their professional tracks and to have access to complementary courses, for example, in communication or data science. Of course, all this action wouldn't be possible thanks to the help of various people with specific skills, which are volunteer, who are volunteer to spend some time of their, for the community. So we have set up different steering committees to implement our action. So the first committee is organizing, for example, scientific animation and organizing all the research call we have. We have a green committee trying to make our laboratories greener. We have a committee designed to help the organization and improve the visibility of our technical platforms. A committee dedicated to science in society having action to promote neuroscience for citizens. And of course, we have our international committee. This committee is led by Santiago Rivera. We just heard Santiago for the welcome word. And the goal and the role of this committee is really important, and even in the context of the CIVIS network. So we are trying to create a research directory to describe all the teams from NeuroMarseille, but also to share this directory to have a complete overview, a complete description of all the teams present in the CIVIS network. This committee is organizing meetings like this one, and also structure our community to better respond to international calls. So what we would like to do in the future with this committee and with the training programs and to increase the link within the CIVIS community is to invite speakers from the CIVIS partner to be part of our master symposium and PhD Neuro Days. We have also to improve the communication between the various university incoming and outgoing mobility grants. We have also funds for international PhD students and international co-supervised PhD. And in the future, we would like to share courses within the CIVIS framework. One important aspect is also that we are transforming our tracks and mainly our master, which will be really soon in English. So I would like to finish by giving you a few information. So on this slide, you can identify the management teams of NeuroMarseille and NeuroSchool. Through this email address, you will have an access to the management team of the NeuroMarseille, myself, Boris Burle and Anne Cavonu-Diaz, who are deputy directors, Gabriel Gallon, director of the operation, and of course, Santiago Rivera. Using this email address, you can contact the training part of NeuroMarseille, the graduate school NeuroSchool, Anne Cavonu-Diaz, who is director of the NeuroSchool, Isabelle Virard, coordinator of all the actions, Francesca Sargolini, who is the head of the master and also the international referent for the master, and Anna Montanini, head of the PhD program and international referent for the PhD. You can, of course, have all this information on our website. Before ending, I would like to thank also really important people who have been really at the start and really have been the first people to implement this action for NeuroMarseille. So I need to thank François Ferrand, Bruno Pousset, and Rosa Cossard. So now I would like to wish you a great day. I hope we will have a numerous scientific exchanges. I'm looking forward to hear your scientific presentation. Now I'm going to leave the floor for the next presentation. Davide Ragozzino is going to present you now the Sapienza Center for Neuroscience.
Good morning to everybody, and thank the organizers for putting up this. Let me introduce first myself. I am Davide Ragozzino. I am a researcher at Sapienza University, and I am director of the Center for Research in Neurobiology. And second, just allow me a small captatio benevolentia, just to say that I feel like the bad fellow in the class going to the blackboard after the first in the class who presented a very, very nice presentation. So actually we are on this process, but we are a little bit far from Marseille. And actually, I want to present our work in Rome as a Center for Research in Neurobiology. This center started in 2005 and is entitled to Daniel Bovet, who was a Swiss chemist and pharmacologist who moved to Rome for the last part of his career, and where he started the field of psychobiology. So his legacy is particularly in this part. And actually, we celebrate the legacy. It does not work. Sorry. I have a problem with the proceed of the slides. Sorry. This is typical. Okay, like that should. Okay. So the center is based on the 6 supporting departments: physiology and pharmacology, biology and biotechnology, human neurosciences, psychology, dynamic and clinical psychology, and finally, the last one, biochemistry. I will try now to just make an overview, very short overview of the research running on in these departments, which are actually the skeleton of the center, and then try to focus on the activities and mission of this center. So first, I'm starting from my department, which is physiology and pharmacology. We are actually a department fully devoted to neuroscience. I would say neurophysiologists and neuropharmacologists. And the research spans from neuronal and synaptic mechanisms, glial cells, to neural correlates of learning in primates. and psychoactive substances. So we have a large different variety of researches in neuroscience. So you will find these slides or the infographic of each department following this link. It's too complicated to show now. Second is biology and biotechnology. And here there is a community of neurobiologists, particularly working on cellular and molecular mechanism of neurological diseases and on circuits and behavior. The third department is the Department of Human Neurosciences, and it is actually the former Department of Neurology. This is more concentrated on human, and particularly on brain mechanism and functional connectivity, and then pain and different type of neural disorders, including therapeutical strategies. Then we have two departments of psychology. The first is the Department of Psychology, where there is large research in neuroscience. I'm just showing here the psychobiology part, which is mainly concentrated on genetics variability and behavior. And the second psychology is Department of Dynamic and Clinical Psychology. And here it's more clinical and human research, particularly in the neurobiological correlates of psychic and behavioral phenomena. Then here there are also clinical services in the more than laboratories. And the last department we joined at the center is Department of Biochemistry. Here they study mainly cellular and molecular mechanisms underlying neurodegenerative diseases and brain function. So let's go back to the center. Our center is actually a soft center. So we don't have building, we don't have labs, we have just a collaborative community of neuroscientists trying to organize a hub of exchange for researchers and students. Actually, this works. So we try to develop neuroscience network and to implement training and dissemination of sciences. And for this, we participate to different alliances, like, for example, CIVIS, to favor training and mobility of researchers. So our core business is to organize seminars. We organize tens of different neuroscience seminars in Rome, actually collaborating with few other institutions in the Roman area, MBL, the Italian Institute of Technology, and the European Brain Research Institute. And we organize international seminars. We started a line of Roman neuroscience seminars to favor the exchange in the area. And as everybody in this time, we started to use webinar. Webinar are limited because there is a limitation in meeting, but they are also a powerful tool. We are trying to join a very large network of webinars, which is called NeuroWebinars, organized by neurology schools in Italy with thousands of users. Then we concentrate on the missions of the university, so teaching. We have internal service to the students. For example, they have our seminar in the curricula, and we organize different initiatives to favor orientation of students, lab day for thesis, career day for after graduation. And we promote exchanges between researchers from different departments, and developing both local and international networks. And the third mission, it's like outreach. We organize different activities outside the university, for example, Science Cafe, or different projects in schools, like this last one, Open Mind, where we actually involve school students and interrogate them on neuroscience problems. So what we are trying to do now is to actually enlarge our network, and we want to develop a larger network, which we call Sapienza Neuroscience, including postdocs, PhD, and students. And actually, this is based mainly on different means. So the first is the website. The website is Sapienza Neuroscience, and we intend this as a bidirectional window on neuroscience research. So researchers can show their activity there and gather information in the site. It's based on the people, on news, where we actually advertise our seminars and activities, and is based on an engine for keyword search, which can help you to orient in neuroscience in Sapienza. Then we are moving to the social media to enlarge our visibility. And actually we started a YouTube channel which we use for live streaming of the events and to collect media for further use, for example, for education and communication. And the last one, we are starting with Twitter. This is probably everyone has it. And the idea is to expand our visibility with different media and actually send our message further. So to finish, I want to say that actually we still consider the center, which we can, the institutional one, which is green, Sapienza Neuroscience, which is the broader network, and then we can arrive to New Rome. So like there is in Marseille, actually, this is our project. This is, we intend this really as a project, and the activities in the next future will be to invest in communication and dissemination, as I told you, to participate in different networks like CIVIS. And then we have project of outreach in schools and to the general public. And we are starting new initiatives for higher education, particularly in microscopy, and different activities in CIVIS. And then to finish, I would like not to be trivial, but we are mainly concentrated in fundraising, because to sustain these initiatives, we actually need to import some money in the center. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm closing, giving the words to the next speaker, Cornelius, I think.
Very good. So welcome from my side. My name is Cornelius Schwarz. I'm a researcher in Tübingen, Center for Integrative Neuroscience, Werner Reichardt Center for Integrative Neuroscience, and the Hertie Institute for Clinical Brain Research. I'm doing sensory and tactile systems neuroscience, as well as sensory motor research in cognitive neuroscience in rodents. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this meeting. I was involved already in a bilateral communication and meetings between the Aix-Marseille University and Tübingen. This is still going on, this bilateral affair, but it's great that it evolves into a greater scheme and with more cooperation partners within the CIVIS network. We plan, though, still a bilateral meeting in presence in June, but this is really tentative given the Omicron wave that gushes through Germany right now. But that will perhaps happen. I hope so very much. We already have a date and we have a room, and we will contact you. Maybe we could open this one as a hybrid conference also to Sapienza and the other CIVIS universities, and also make it a CIVIS event that way. Let's see. Tübingen neuroscience is old. It was actually ignited in the 1960s, basically with the foundation of the Institute of Biological Cybernetics at the Max Planck Institute in Tübingen, founded by Werner Reichardt. Many of you might have seen the iconic beetle that crawls on the Y maze here, or the schematic of the Werner Reichardt motion detector that are depicted here. So this institute was very powerful in introducing computational methods into neurobiology or behavioral biology. Also, they investigated the insect eye or matids with Kuno Kirschfeld, mammalian neocortex cerebellum Breitenberg. But it was not only this institute, it was also on the university side, the neurology and the neurobiology, the department of, back then faculty of biology was very strong. I want to highlight that in the 80s, in the department for neurology, the primates, and this is going on until today. This has developed into strong primate neuroscience, and we will talk about this later today in the roundtable as well. Then also in the biology, Schnitzler and Vayu did biological cybernetics as well as studies into bats echolocation. So this was the foundation of Tübingen neuroscience, this triangle. Certainly there were many others that I cannot mention here. It was a strong focus on computational and systems neuroscience, and this has developed into a bustling center of neuroscience that actually covers all directions and all fields, subfield of neuroscience. And you see all the institutions here on the logos. So it's very massive. There are, I don't know the exact number of labs, but there must be far more than 50 labs in Tübingen devoted entirely to neuroscience. Still, a focus is on systems neuroscience and computational neuroscience. The excellence cluster that I'm part of, Excellence Cluster Werner Reichardt, Center for Integrative Neuroscience, even adopted the name of Werner Reichardt. This institute will be represented by Katrin Franke later in the talk. And it still does systems and cognitive neuroscience. Max Planck Institute for Biological Cybernetics is continued now under the leadership of Peter Dayan, is focused on cognitive neuroscience, systems neuroscience, with a strong computational neuroscience part. The Institute for Neurobiology at the biology, the science, also adopted and exercises primate research. That will be part of this today later as well. The Center for Neurosensory Systems is composed mainly of two clinics, the ophthalmology and rhino-otolaryngology here. They did, they stand for great work in terms of retinal implants as well as cochlear implants and so on and so forth. Psychology is involved, and the one department of the physiology is very strong in imaging techniques and image research, doing cellular imaging. Olga Garashuk is going to introduce this later in her talk. Computational neuroscience, as founded in the last century, is still strong going. The first group was the Bernstein Center for Computational Neuroscience. This was really computational tools devoted to neuroscience, but now in the last 10-15 years has evolved certainly into much greater approaches towards machine learning, artificial intelligence. So there's a whole new Max Planck Institute for Intelligent Systems under the leadership of Bernhard Schölkopf has been founded. We have an excellence cluster of machine learning for science. These institutes, they are certainly also devoted to the applied mathematics and robotics and so on and so forth. So they also have other interests, but certainly they provide the neurosciences in Tübingen with great connections to computational tools, algorithms, and analysis that we need. And certainly, not to forget, last but not least, informatics. The Department of Informatics at the university is also in place. Then the neuroscience has also evolved in the last 20 years to cover other fields of neuroscience other than the classical systems and behavioral cognitive neurosciences into the cellular and molecular field. The Hertie Institute for Clinical Brain Research is an institution that is funded by an extra-university foundation, the Hertie Foundation, is doing cellular and molecular neurology as well as systems neurology. Their mission is to bring research from the bench to bedside, translational research. Same is valid for the psychiatry. They have a Center for Mental Health, which is funded by the Federal Republic, a big conglomeration of groups that work on psychiatric diseases. Ophthalmology, renal otolaryngology, I already mentioned. They also developed into more cellular and molecular research recently. And there is to mention psychosomatic medicine and psychotherapy, and the newly founded German Center for Neurodegenerative Diseases, Helmholtz Institute, which is also devoted to more translational research on degenerative neurological diseases. And then last but not least, the NMI in Reutlingen, this is a neighboring town here from Tübingen, Natural and Medical Sciences Institute. They are focused on technical neuroscience, technical tools for neuroscience. So as you see, this is a quite bustling, heterogeneous field. It's composed of institutes that are part of the university, but also others that are from outside the university, Max Planck, Helmholtz, and then other institutions. So it's a bustling scene here in Tübingen, and it's concentrated in a small place. Tübingen has 90,000 inhabitants, and so everything is nearby. In 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, it was then clear that such a huge group of neuroscientists, they need students that work on projects and that bring fresh ideas and so on and so forth. So then training and teaching became a big topic, and that's when the Graduate Training Center of Neuroscience was established. The Graduate Training Center of Neuroscience is a school devoted to teach the neurosciences. It has the following characteristics. It was founded in 1999 and is an outspoken interfaculty institution. That means the medicine as well as the science faculty contribute to it, and there's a steering committee of the two faculties that steers the school, and I'm the head of this right now. Then interinstitutional characteristics, so it's not only the university, but also university hospital, the Max Planck Institutes, all the mentioned institutes, NMI, the Helmholtz Society, and so on and so forth. So also all those contribute either in financial ways or in ways of teaching and other contributions to the Graduate Training Center. It's interdisciplinary, so we teach now all the wide spectrum of neuroscience that is represented in Tübingen, from gene to behavior to pathology. And it's clearly research oriented, so our goal is really to train students to enter academic careers. All teachers are active researchers, and the teaching is focused on the newest topics and methods in neuroscience. So we started with one master's program in 1999. That was a neural and behavioral science, so tailored to the systems neuroscience approach back then. But since then, in 2008 and 2011, two more master's programs were established, one for cellular and molecular neuroscience, and the other one for neural information processing, so computational neuroscience. These master's programs run for 2 years, 120 ECTS. All teaching from 1999 on is done in English, so it's very international. And there are about 90 students present in the master programs at every time. So in each program, there are 15 per year. We also have a doctoral program, which is immense. Right now, it's about we run about 250 doctoral students. Early on, we established modern cooperative supervision methods advisory boards that guide the students throughout their doctoral projects. We are about 50 faculty, professors, and junior group leaders from all the institutions that are present at the university and outside. And we have a full-time dedicated management team, which I will introduce a little later. On top of that, we have a program that is called International Max Planck Research School, which was first established in 2001, and then several times prolonged and extended. And now in its latest version, it's the International Max Planck Research School called The Mechanisms of Mental Function and Dysfunctions, with the speaker Peter Dayan from the Institute of Biological Cybernetics. This school is not only supported by the Max Planck Society, but also by the Hertie Institute for Clinical Brain Research. The school covers all three master's programs: neural information processing, neural behavioral sciences, and cellular and molecular neuroscience. The first two are covered by Max Planck, and the third covered by the Hertie Institute. We have a new 5-year track here, which caters to international students that are accustomed to these 5 years doctorates, which start with a master's phase and then enter a certain doctoral experimental phase or something like that. So we have a 5-year track where students that are elected for this can come to Tübingen to study on the master's phase in one of the 3 tracks, in one of the 3 programs, and then after that enter their doctorate. There's also the classical German way to do it, the 3-year track, where you come from outside and you enter the doctoral program directly. The INPRES provides stipends for the elected students during their master's studies, and then other funding possibilities or support for students in their doctoral phase when they enter labs and are basically financed by labs. The GTC, as announced, is managed by a dedicated management team. You perhaps saw already Mark Himmelbach here on the panel. He is the Dean of Studies and the Director of the GTC. He runs all the affairs, the daily and more longer strategic affairs of the school. And he is supported by Katja Thielkes and Monika Lamm, who organize the master's programs and the doctoral programs respectively. If you have questions, if you want to connect to the NeuroSchool, please follow this link here or ask one of these 3 persons. They know all the details and can probably answer to all questions you may have. Thank you very much. This is what I had to tell you, and I think I'm going to stop sharing and give the floor to Pascale, who will moderate the first scientific session, I believe. Thank you very much.